This is the developer talk for the Black Ops 7 multiplayer updates that we're about to go over.
Design director at Treyarch, back again to talk about.
That's Matt. He's the GOAT, and he's the reason why I think we'll be able to ADS while sliding without dexterity now.
About some updates for multiplayer in Black Ops 7. Okay, so the first topic I want to touch on is the whole aim down sights, ADS, while sliding, diving, wall jumping topic. So in the beta, that did require you to take the dexterity perk. The team looked at all of our options and ultimately landed on providing the most fluid experience by default, which does mean we've reintroduced the ability to aim down sights while sliding, diving, and wall jumping by default.
Huge W.
You need to take the dexterity perk. Dexterity will still speed up those interactions, sprint to fire, slide to fire, but you will not need dexterity perk to ADS while doing those actions.
W. I think that's a great option because dexterity, it should be in the game to a certain extent. Like reduce the idle sway, or how it sounds here is it's making faster slide to fire. Is that what he said at the end? Hold on.
But you will not need dexterity perk to ADS while doing those actions. You do not need to take the dexterity perk. Dexterity will still speed up those interactions, sprint to fire, slide to fire, but you will not
sprint to fire, slide to fire get improved with dexterity. So it's still powerful. But the problem, and I said this at my first playtest for BO7, is that dexterity was such a huge crutch perk because if you didn't use it, the game felt night and day difference. Like now, it'll still be enough to where it's like good changes. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's still a powerful perk, but it's not a crutch perk like it was before. So I think that's a great idea. I'm glad that they're making that change.
To ADS while doing those actions. Okay, next one I want to touch on is just to reconfirm a topic I touched on in our last dev update about footstep volume. We have slightly increased the volume of our footsteps in multiplayer. We're very happy with where they're.
How do y'all feel about this? I don't know how I feel about footsteps. I feel like the GOAT COD, in my opinion, Black Ops 2, default footsteps, even without dead silence, were not that loud. Maybe it's like a new age game thing where footsteps have to be loud. I don't necessarily see that as a problem.
Where it's going to incentivize more stealth play styles without over-indexing on the need for the ninja perk. Okay, next I want to touch on where we've landed with our slide tuning coming out of the beta for launch. Alongside that dexterity change and the ADS change, we have slowed down the slide speed a bit and we've reduced the distance a bit, but I promise you it still feels great, it still feels fluid, but we want to make sure that that's not the only way you can enter in an engagement. Okay, another movement topic I want to touch on.
Interesting. I feel like sliding wasn't really a problem. Like the speed and distance of the slide. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what it looks like. And we got mantle speed up next.
So we saw the feedback. We agree. Some of the mantles felt a little slow. So
remember that the top window on Cortex? Y'all know the one I'm talking about. The top window on Cortex. I slow mantled over that every single time.
Single mantle in the
Will you get a new Cronus for BO7 or just use the one you already have? All same Cronus, different script.
Game to make sure that we have a consistent speed and fill and everything feels fast and fluid. The next one is a meaty topic, and it's about our perks and our perk distribution. Got a lot of feedback. We made some changes.
Hey, you got your TMR. There you go.
Coming out of our blog. A lot of you had a lot of feedback on that, which we appreciate. But the big changes that we're going to focus on here for launch are: one, we want to make sure that we are incentivizing and allowing for varied play styles. Two, we saw a lot of feedback on how stacked slot 1 was. So we've made some adjustments there that I think you're going to be happy with. And then 3, there were some kind of niche underutilized perks. So we've actually made some combinations of perks to make those chunky decisions and choices. Okay, let's get into the details. First change, we've actually moved Tech Mask to slot 2.
Whoa. Okay.
From slot 1. That's going to allow for classes like Flak Jacket, Tech Mask, and Guardian for a very strong support tanky class. We've moved Tac Sprinter to slot 1 from slot 3.
Wow, I actually was not expecting that. Okay, so Tag Mask in perk 2. So you could do perk 1 Flak, perk 2 Tac Mask. Perk 3 would be Dexterity, maybe? Perk 3 Dex, and then perk Greed with Ninja on perk 1.
Strong support tanky class. We've moved Tac Sprinter to slot 1 from slot 3. Looper to slot 3 from slot 2, and that's going to let you loop your score streaks. Cold-Blooded is going to slot 3 from slot 1, and that's going to allow for full stealth classes like Ghost, Ninja, and Cold-Blooded with a wild card, of course. Scavenger is going back to slot 2 from slot 1. And then we'll start getting into the combinations of those underutilized perks that I touched on. So first up, Shadow, which allows you to move by traps without setting them off, has been added to Engineer. So that's going to be a fun perk where you can actually see enemy equipment through the world.
I want to see perk
and
1
then
again.
also approach it and not set those traps off. Vendetta, which allows you to see the location of your previous killer, has been added to Assassin. So if you really want to target a single player on the enemy team, this is going to be your perk. So one for our melee players, we've actually added Bruiser, which gives you increased health.
I don't think these impact us as much. My worry is that, like, from a competitive standpoint, everybody's going to be protected, like, just super soldiers, like, protected by flak, tac, dead silence, all the above. That's my main worry about, like, the comp perk loadouts. I want some decision making to happen. Okay, so here's the perk 1. This is what I'm talking about. We have in perk 1 now is Ghost, Ninja, Flak Jacket, Lightweight. Okay, so there will be some decision making, probably with Lightweight, depending on how powerful it ends up being. Maybe people will sacrifice being vulnerable to nades for Lightweight. I don't know. I just feel like I could see a world where everybody runs Flak and Tac and Dead Silence.
Gearhead, and
there's no decision making happening.
1. And if you're all about the gadgets, or if you're all about the field upgrades and the equipment, this is going to be the perk for you. So with all of these changes to our perks, the team is very excited. We think you'll be very excited. And of course, we're very much looking forward to your feedback. Okay, next up, I want to touch on what we're doing with aim assist in Black Ops 7. So first off, we're looking very closely at the data, and the data says that controller players are winning slightly more in close range engagements, and then keyboard mouse players are winning slightly more in those long range engagements. So what we're going to do here is to try to close that gap, take a very close look at the strength of aim assist across all of those ranges, and then additionally, we are looking at rotational aim assist and the requirement for your right aim stick to be moving in the direction of your target. We'll have more concrete details to share soon. That's my time for today. Of course, we have more details coming on maps, modes, weapons, and progression as we head into launch.
Okay, so we didn't hear much at all about the aim assist. It was very vague. I don't know how I feel about that. What I will say is that at the beginning of Black Ops 6, if y'all remember, and we're done here, so I think I can close out of this. The beginning of BO6, if y'all remember, there was no aim assist on controller at the very close range, and I wonder if that was kind of what they were trying to do, is make controller players worse up close while not impacting keyboard and mouse players. I don't know. Very interested to see what they end up doing with aim assist, but all in all, seems like good changes for BO7. Definitely the most exciting is the dex change. Unsure about the perk changes, and excited to see what the remainder of the aim assist changes look like. But I think we're in for a good year. At the very least, they're listening, right? I don't know.